You know that specific nightmare, right? You're at a dinner party, the conversation is flowing, and then someone turns to you, asks a simple question in English,
Hmm.
and you know the answer. You've got the vocab list memorized, you've drilled the grammar, but your brain just stops. It's like the spinning wheel of death on a computer. You're just buffering.
The eternal buffer. It is, I think, the universal struggle of the language learner, that moment of, I know this, so why on earth can't I say it?
It's physically painful. You're just stuck there smiling like a statue while your brain is screaming. And our first instinct is always to blame ourselves, Oh, I just need more flashcards. We think it's a capacity problem.
Right, I need more words.
But today, we're looking at a source that says, actually, no. Buying more vocabulary flashcards is like buying more furniture when your house is on fire. It's not solving the actual problem.
That is a vivid image, but yeah, a pretty accurate one. We're doing a deep dive into the direct route, training your brain to think in English. And the mission here is, well, it's pretty cool. It's not to teach you a single new word.
It's to upgrade your operating system.
Exactly.
So if it's not a vocabulary problem, what is it? Why do we freeze up like that?
It's a routing problem. It's all about latency. The source breaks this down into what they call the 4-step pipeline. And honestly, when you hear this, you'll immediately realize why you're so exhausted after speaking English for just 10 minutes.
Okay, walk us through it. What is happening under the hood when I'm trying to, say, order a coffee?
Okay, so picture it. Step 1, you have the idea, just the raw concept, I want caffeine. Step 2, your brain, out of habit, immediately drafts that idea in your native language. It forms the full sentence in your mother tongue.
Okay, so far so good. I'm with you.
But then step 3, and this is the killer, you hit the translation layer. Your brain has to map the grammar, check for errors, rearrange the syntax.
Oh, wow. That is heavy cognitive lifting. That's a lot of processing power.
It's exhausting, and only then do you get to step 4, speech. That translation layer is a huge bottleneck.
It's like running a modern video game on a
1995 processor, exactly.
Yeah.
You're trying to render these high-definition graphics, but the chip just can't keep up.
It just buffers forever. So a fluent speaker,
Mm-hmm.
what's different about their pipeline?
Their pipeline doesn't have better vocabulary, it just has a better route. They go idea, straight to English, then speech. 2 steps.
No translation layer.
None. They've cut out the middleman. And that's the whole goal here, to fire that little translator living in our heads.
Or at least encourage them into early retirement.
Yes, retire them. The goal is to build a direct link between a concept and the English language, bypassing your native tongue entirely.
Okay, I get the logic. Cut out the middleman. But
Yeah.
let's be real for a second. The reason I translate in my head is because I don't trust my English yet. I feel like if I try to think directly in English, I'm going to sound like a toddler. I'll lose all my nuance.
You probably will.
Oh, ouch. Thanks for the confidence boost there.
But that's the trap. That is the biggest myth the source wants to bust. We all tell ourselves, I'll start thinking in English once my English is perfect.
All right, I'll take the training wheels off once I can ride in the Tour de France.
Exactly. But the source flips the causality. It says your English becomes good because you start thinking in it. You don't wait for perfection. Thinking ability has to grow before language perfection.
So we have to be willing to be bad at it inside our own heads first. Is that what you're saying?
You have to embrace the simplicity. If you wait until you can compose Shakespearean sonnets in your head, you'll never switch. The source is clear. Start with broken, basic, even grammatically questionable sentences inside your own mind. That's how the pathway gets paved.
So it sort of feels like we need to regress a little bit to move forward.
It feels like regression, but it's actually foundation building. And that brings us to the actual training. The source outlines a phased approach, starting with something it calls micro-thinking.
I love that name because it sounds so low pressure. Micro-thinking. What does that look like in practice?
It is exactly what it sounds like. It's about narration, but on a really tiny scale. You just narrate your own life in real time, keeping it extremely basic. The source gives these great, almost trivial examples. I am opening the door.
I am sitting down. I am checking my phone.
Exactly.
So I'm just walking around my house talking to myself.
In your head, please don't do this out loud on the subway. You'll get some weird looks. But yes, you're broadcasting a mental play-by-play. I am pouring coffee. I am looking for my keys.
The cat is judging me.
The cat is always judging you. But notice the structure. Subject, verb, object. It's primal. You're not trying to discuss geopolitics. You're just gluing the English words pouring coffee to the physical action of pour.
It's Pavlovian almost. You're just conditioning the brain.
Precisely, and you only do it for 3 to 5 minutes a day. It's not this huge commitment. You're just training your brain to see that action equals English without checking in with your native language first.
Okay, so that's micro-thinking. But we're not just moving. We're also looking at things. Which brings us to the next technique, object labeling.
Right. This is all about visual input. Usually, you look at a table, your brain instantly says the word in your native language. We want to override that. So the drill is to look around you and just name things.
So literally just table, water bottle, fan.
Exactly that simple. You turn the world into flashcards. But then the source says you should upgrade this pretty quickly to observation. Don't just label the noun, label the state of the noun.
Okay, give me an example of that upgrade.
So instead of just thinking phone, you'd think the screen is cracked. Instead of traffic, you think the cars are not moving.
Okay, that's actually much harder. Now I have to find adjectives, verbs.
And that struggle, that split second where you hunt for the word cracked, that is your brain building the direct route. You're forcing visual input to trigger English output, completely skipping your native language.
That makes so much sense. Okay, so we've got narration down, we're labeling our furniture. But conversation is, it's more than that. It's logic, it's questions. We need to actually talk to ourselves.
Which brings us to phase 2, internal dialogue. And this is where it gets really interesting because the source leverages something our brains do naturally all day long. We ask ourselves questions.
We do. Constantly. What should I have for lunch? Why on earth did I say that? Where are my keys?
Exactly. So the question loop technique hijacks that natural process. The drill is just to ask yourself a question in English and then answer it in English.
So in my head, I'd say, what am I doing now?
And you answer, I am listening to training. Or you ask, what will I do next? And you answer, I will make notes.
It's like you're interviewing yourself.
In a way, yeah. But notice what's happening. You're creating a closed loop. You generate the input, the question, and you generate the output, the answer. You're creating a self-sustaining English dialogue in your head.
And asking, why is this important?
Because thinking speed improves fluency.
I see what you did there. But seriously, that's a big step up from just, I am sitting. Now we're processing logic. Speaking of which, the source has another technique here I think is a game changer for speed. It's called phrase chunking.
Ah, yes. Chunking. This is based on linguistic reality. Our brains don't think in isolated grammar rules. We think in blocks, in chunks of meaning.
So these are like ready-made Lego bricks you can just snap together.
That is a perfect analogy. Native speakers don't construct sentences word by word. It's way too slow. We just grab pre-made blocks. And the source lists examples like, I think that, or the problem is.
Depends on.
One reason is, right, when you have these chunks ready, you reduce your processing load so much, you just grab the, in my opinion, chunk, and then fill in the blank. You aren't building every sentence from scratch.
It's like having macros on your computer. You hit one button and it does a whole sequence. Okay, so we're labeling, questioning, chunking. But here's the reality check. You're going to hit a wall, you're cruising along, thinking in English, and then bam, you forget a word.
And this is the danger zone. This is where most people panic and default right back to their native language.
But the source has a very, very strict rule for this, doesn't it?
It does. The no translation rule. It is probably the most important rule in the whole system. During your practice time, translation is just forbidden.
That's hardcore. So what do you do if you forget the word? Just stare into space.
No, you use a strategy called circumlocution. It's just a fancy word for describing your way around the problem. You
Yeah.
explain it using simpler English words you do know.
The source gives that classic example of this, the calculator.
Yes. So let's say your mind goes blank on the word calculator. You can't look it up. You can't say it in your native language. What do you say?
You have to say something like, the machine for counting numbers.
Exactly.
So that makes me cringe. The machine for numbers. I sound like a caveman. It feels like I'm regressing. It's embarrassing, even if it's just in my own head.
It feels awkward, I get it. But cognitively, it's a massive triumph. You stayed inside the English ecosystem. You didn't break the circuit. That discomfort you feel, that struggle to find the words machine and counting. That's the feeling of your brain building new pathways. It feels like a struggle, but it's actually growth.
It reminds me of playing a game where you have to stay inside the lines. You have to find a way to win within the boundaries you're given.
And if you can survive that moment in your head, you won't freeze when it happens in a real conversation. You'll just say, you know, the thing for the numbers, and the conversation keeps moving. No buffering.
Okay, I have to get used to sounding a little basic to get fluent. So we made it through the day. We stayed in English, and now we're winding down. The source has one last technique for consolidation.
This is the daily replay method. And honestly, this is one of the most effective ways to solidify memory that I've seen.
How does it work?
At the end of the day, before you go to sleep, you just replay your day like a mental movie. But, and this is the key, you do it in English using the simple past tense.
Simple past. So again, keep it basic. I woke up. I went to work.
Very basic. The example is something like, I woke up at 7, I checked messages, I had tea, I attended one meeting.
It sounds kind of dry, to be honest. Why is that so effective?
Because maybe 90% of our storytelling is in the past tense. It's the most critical social grammar we have. And also, by replaying your day in English, you're actively re-encoding your own memories into English pathways.
You're literally rewriting the script of your life in English.
You really are. And doing this for just 5 minutes a night has a huge long-term impact. You're practicing the most common tense using real content from your own life.
Okay, we've got a lot of tools here. Micro-thinking, labeling, question loops, chunking, the no translation rule, and this daily replay. It sounds amazing, but also a lot to remember.
It does. And that's why the source provides a 7-day brain training plan that's surprisingly manageable. It's not about finding an extra hour. It's about using the dead time you already have.
Okay, run me through the schedule. What's a typical day look like?
So, morning, while you're brushing your teeth, object labeling. 2 minutes. Just toothbrush, coffee maker, steam.
Done. 2 minutes. What about the afternoon?
Afternoon, you do micro-thinking during one routine task, like washing the dishes. Just narrate it. I am holding the plate, just for that one task.
Okay, not the whole afternoon. I like that. Evening.
Evening is your question loop. Maybe while you're waiting for dinner to cook, 3 minutes. Ask. Answer. What am I cooking? I am cooking pasta. Is it ready? No, it is hard.
And then nighttime is the daily replay.
Correct. Lying in bed, you replay the movie of your day. 5 minutes.
So if we add that up, we're talking under 15 minutes a day.
Under 15, and really under 10 minutes of active effort. The key principle here isn't intensity, it's consistency. The source is so clear. Short daily reps beat long weekly sessions. You can't cram this on a Sunday afternoon.
It's a difference between brushing your teeth for 2 minutes every day versus brushing for 30 minutes once a week.
That is a vivid analogy. But yes, the brain needs that daily signal that says, okay, this is how we process information now.
So if we step back and look at the big picture, what's the ultimate takeaway? We started this talking about that horrible frustration of buffering.
The takeaway is that fluency isn't magic. It's a conditioning process, and you can change how your brain processes language right now. You don't need a teacher, you don't need a textbook, you just need to change your internal monologue.
It's really empowering.
Yeah,
You're taking control of the machinery yourself.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Stop translating, start mapping, be okay with sounding simple, and most importantly, do not wait. The source ends with a powerful line. Don't wait to become fluent before thinking in English. Think in English and fluency follows.
Think in English and fluency follows. I love that. It puts the horse back in front of the cart.
It really does.
You know, as we wrap this up, I'm kind of stuck on one idea. If we actually do all this, if I start narrating my life and replaying my memories all in English, eventually that voice in my head is English.
That's the goal.
But language isn't just code, is it? It carries culture, attitude. I wonder, does my personality change a little bit?
That is a fascinating question.
Right? Like, are you more direct in English? More polite? More logical? When you start running that daily replay in English, do you start seeing your own life through a slightly different lens?
There's research suggesting exactly that we embody slightly different personas in different languages. People often report feeling more rational or maybe more extroverted in their second language.
So maybe this training isn't just about fluency. It's about discovering a slightly different version of yourself.
A version of yourself without the baggage, maybe.
Or just a version that doesn't buffer.
I like the sound of that.
Me too. All right, that's the challenge then. 7 days. Narrate the coffee, describe the calculator. Don't worry about sounding like a toddler in your own head. Just keep the wheel turning. Thanks for diving in with us.
Goodbye, and keep thinking.